Oh, imagine morning, in the morning day, you wake up and you find your house flooded. What would you do? Well, today I want to talk to you about what the work of the Surf company does. Well, it's literally right there. It just says it's a cleanup and a restoration company. The points I want to talk about are like the type of work they do, the history, and their accomplishments. The history. Ted and Doris Isaacson launched Surf Pro in 1967. It started as a painting business in Sacramento, and after Ted and Doris transferred the company into a franchise of cleaning and restoration specialists. It was located in Sacramento, but corporate headquarters was relocated to Gallatin, Tennessee. At the time of the relocation, Surf Pro consisted of 647 franchises. Nowadays, more than 1,650 franchise operate nationwide, and they continue to grow. This, I don't know if you guys have seen, these trucks are the trucks that operate during this company. This is the truck I drive. It's a 24-hour service emergency. What we do water damages, mold, and that's pretty much it. You might ask yourself, what is a water damage? Water damage consists of any leak. It could destroy anything, literally. Like it could mess up your walls, carpets, floor, your vinyl, your baseboard. So what we do is this machine tests this exactly like it says like where like the water like has been damaged, but it doesn't exactly say like how far. So then we use this machine, we poke it inside the drywall to if it beeps loud, that means that there's water, so we have to go and cut it. Depending on how high the damage has been, we have to go like, for example, it has there's damage between 6 inches. We have to go. We can't leave 6 inches because there could be more damage on the wall. So we have to cut it like a foot. If there's insulation, we have to cut. We have to tear that out. Carpets. If carpets get soaked and wet, we use this extractor. We soak up. We extract all the water from the carpet. We lift up the carpet. We have to take out the pad. And if there's like, depending like if this area gets wet, it could affect the whole more area in the back, so we can't exactly just cut this part of the pad. We have to lift up the whole carpet and take out the whole pad. And also that happens with glued down carpet. If there's glued down carpet, if it gets wet, we can we have to take out the carpet because the glue won't stick no more on the floor. So we have to scrape it and we have to take out the whole glue. We use disinfectant called a benefit disinfectant that like what it's mostly used for, like to kill the bacteria that are still around. So like let's say on the drywall we spray it, nothing it uses just to kill all the bacteria that are still there. restoration. We like once we get the job, we like to finish it completely because our logo is like it never happened. So if they call us in like, oh, there's a water damage, you have to tear down 2 feet of the drywall. We go and if they give us the job, we do everything back. We leave it like nothing happened. We have to put the drywall, we have to mud it, and then throw the texture, paint it, and then after it's painted, we use the baseboards. These are some examples of the type of baseboards that the customers choose, or if they have their own, if they still want their own that they have in their house, we just get a sample, we take it to the store we purchase it from. But these are like examples, like if they want simple ones, are in that corner, and then all the designs are from here and down, and we have to cut it at a certain angle. We cut it at a 45-degree angle because at the corners where there's a union, like it has to go like like there's a union, so like it connects, so it goes all the way around the whole wall, and then like we repaint it, we put caulking on it, and that's pretty much all our work. But this is a DHU and the air movers. What these do, the DHUs, like when they're set up in a place, it gets warm because it's absorbing all the water that's on the floor, and it has a hose. We connect it through, depending if there's space, or we get a bucket, or like they have the bathroom nearby. We put it around the sink, and then approximately, depending on the area that has been affected, so every day a crew goes and checks if the equipment's working right. And if we leave it in a bucket, approximately the bucket gets full like a fourth, that saying almost 3 gallons per day. And before we do the demo, we ask the customer if they're there, or when they call, what year exactly is their house. We really can't, if their house is from 1985 and down, we aren't able to do the demolition because it contains asbestos. And asbestos is a building material that was used in the past that causes serious diseases in the lungs, and if you breathe it, it can kill you. So we if a company goes out and tests it, if it has asbestos, and if it has asbestos, they call us. We have to go to that house. We have to seal that area. Only the people that go and do the asbestos have to wear special uniforms because it's contagious. So like if we go out and cut, we could kill the people because we're not specialists in cutting that type of drywall that contains the asbestos. So after the people that have the company that goes in and does the asbestos demolition, we go and the area still has to be covered. So like after they have put the new drywall, we take all the, or we covered, we take all that down. We take the fans. We use air scrubber, which is just like where it just it can be contained no more. And so today I have talked about the history, the type of work, and the accomplishment this company does.
Ray, you out there?
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was dope. It was good. Topic was interesting. Could have had like a little more to your PowerPoint maybe, just to like keep moving along, and then like a little more organized. That way you don't have to jump back and forth, and you can kind of just go through it fluidly. But it was good, and it looks like super gnar. So that's a good speech. Sure. That makes sense.
All right. Well, I thought the visualization at the beginning was pretty good, and the use of the logo and the truck were fine to tell us what the subject was. Your goal is very basic, that's okay. The preview is mechanical, like we talked about. What was strange though was I don't think I ever heard anything on that third point. You get so involved in describing all the technical stuff that you're doing that it really feels like you kind of go off the rails there. Instead of talking about the company, you're talking about the particular jobs and the work that you're doing. And I think maybe talking about the company is a good way to, if you're going to stick with this subject, is a good way to focus on this. Talk about what the need for the company is, how big it is. You mentioned the franchises at one point. I think that would be interesting to develop as a subject. The kinds of jobs that they do. What happens is you get involved in describing the kind of stuff that you do on a daily basis as part of your job. And I get, some of it's kind of interesting from a technical point of view, but a lot of it is just dry, and it's not really something that any of us is going to be paying that much attention to. How many inches up you're going to be cutting off of the baseboard, that kind of thing, or how deep it has to go. It's like, why am I hearing this? Why is this important? Why is this interesting? And the answer is that it's just something that you do as opposed to something that we need to know. So I think you probably need to kind of pull back from the description of all the technical stuff that goes on and instead talk about what the whole idea of the restoration process is. Why you need to extract the moisture, what the problem is if you don't do that kind of thing. How expensive it is to utilize all that equipment. How long, I have no idea how expensive it is, how long it takes to do this, what the materials are going to be, any of those kinds of things. I didn't get any of that from your presentation. Like I said, I just got a lot of technical stuff. The visuals are good. I like the images that you have of the equipment that you're using, but they need to be put together a little bit more effectively. You're having to scroll back and forth a couple of places, and it feels like sometimes you just throw in something that you remembered to talk about as opposed to something that you planned on. And like I said, at the beginning it sounds like I'm going to be hearing about the ServPro company and how I'm going to hear its history, I'm going to hear about the services it provides, and about the impact that it's had on the world and how it's made everything better. And I never hear any of that stuff on that last part. It just feels like that was a setup that never is rewarded as a consequence. You need to practice a lot more because it just feels like you're winging it, as they say. And although you know your material pretty well, you know it is what you're doing, you got to turn it into a speech. Otherwise it's just you're listening to somebody describe their day, and that's not really going to be very involving. So I think it needs to be edited up, and you need to make some choices there. I got to cut down here so that we can get in.